Yeah, absolutely. We need to rethink love and commitment. 60 years ago was when we decided that men had to be monogamous too. Men were not monogamous for all of recorded human history. Men had concubines and whores, and 60 years ago, straight relationships began to become more egalitarian, and there was less of a property transaction. A marriage had been a property transaction for most of recorded human history, and it became a union of two equals. And at that moment, instead of deciding to allow women to have the same sort of freedom and leeway that men did, we decided to let men have the same limitations, impose the same limitations that women had. And we put monogamous sexual commitment at the heart of all relationships, all long-term commitments, all marriages. And we have watched, we should now be able to recognize the consequences of that, which are a lot of short-term relationships, a lot of divorce, because monogamy is ridiculous, and people aren't any good at it. You're not wired for it. You didn't evolve to be. It's not natural, and it places a tremendous strain on our marriages and our long-term commitments to expect them to be effortlessly monogamous. Because what we've said is, if you're in love, you won't want to have sex with anybody else. And what we need to tell people is that if you're in love, you can make a monogamous commitment, and you will refrain from having sex with other people, but you will still desperately want to fuck the shit out of other people. But people understand love means I don't want to fuck other people because of these misconceptions pumped into people's heads about romance and love and what it means. And so they meet somebody else that they're attracted to, and they're attracted to this other person. They go, well, I must not be in love with my partner anymore, otherwise I wouldn't be attracted to this person. Or they feel threatened when their partners are attracted to other people, as if, it makes them feel insecure. And we just need to get past that. And we talk about monogamy the way we talk about virginity, that you're monogamous until you fuck somebody else, and then you ruined it. You popped your monogamy hymen and destroyed your monogamous relationship. We need to talk about monogamy the way we talk about sobriety, which you can be monogamous and fall off the wagon and then sober back up. You can monogamous back up and get back on the wagon. And the truth of the matter is that if you're with somebody for 40, 50 years and they only cheated on you a few times, they were good at being monogamous, not bad at being monogamous. They were good at it. So I do think there needs to be some leeway. And a lot of really good, loving relationships are destroyed because somebody wants a little variety or isn't getting a need met and feels they have to step out, and it explodes the relationship. I'm conservative. I think that we should do what we can to preserve marriages and long-term relationships. And one way to do that is to encourage people to have more realistic attitudes about sexual exclusivity.
Hey, shit, that's what it is. But I want to say shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory, honor that's due to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Those in the gospel, brother, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a quick lesson through the Spirit. I know the brothers was going into the whole, it is lawful for a man to take on another wife, because you got bummerots in Israel that seem to negate that, because they're all under this Western culture, this whole vote of feminism, which have totally empowered the women to have total control over the marriages, and wonder why there's a 95% divorce rate. And I'm just exaggerating, but the divorce rate is up there. Okay, from what I've studied, I believe monogamy comes from the Romans, if I'm not mistaken, possibly the Greeks, but the Romans. Esau said, it started 5 million years ago. That's bullshit. Man, we're never monogamous. That's not even in our nature. But the reason why I'm going into this video is because, peep this. He says, my wife has lost all interest in sex. We haven't made love for 3 years and she won't get help. See, and under monogamy, like the man did, like Esau just said in the video, he said, look, under that whole falsified moniker of monogamy, the fact that your commitment to one partner allows you to not step out or do whatever you deem needs to do for yourself or your body. You're locked into this slavery agreement, or this bondage into one woman, and you're not even getting any sex, because we know that men have to release pretty daily, you know what I'm saying? Because of the stresses of the world and just being a man, you have to get some of that tension off. Now, it's not to say that, brothers, go take on another wife. We ain't telling you to do nothing like that, because, you got to do what your situation requires. If you dealing with your John or your wife or whatever, and she pleased to dwell with you and you cool with that, then cool. But by you being a man, naturally you are gonna, you're gonna find other women attractive. It is not because you hate your wife or you think she's not good enough. It just, you're wired that way to want multiple, because that's the way that we're genetically created. Because we're supposed to put our seed, we're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. Okay, you have a total of 7 billion some women on the planet Earth. They outnumber us 7-1. So if every man had 1 billion men, every man had a billion wives, and that was it, then you have 6.5 something billion other women that's going to be without child, or they're going to be engaged in whoredom, having kids out of wedlocks, children everywhere, not knowing who the baby's father is, depressed, suicidal, versus if those 7 billion women took on those 1 billion men, those 1 billion men can father the children of those 7 billion women. So if every man has 7 wives, instead of her having 7 different baby daddies, she can have 7 different children by one man. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it works. Okay, it's a business thing. But this is where it gets kind of fucked up, because that whole guilty for, oh, I'm cheating on my wife. You can't cheat on your wife, man. And you can't commit adultery with another man's wife if you're laying with a man that's married and he has a wife and you sleep with her. Then that's adultery. That's an offense to the scriptures, and that's very heavy. But see, if polygamy was pushed in this world, then there would be less adulterous affairs. You see? But then again, Jake will still manage to be wicked. But it says, this is an article here. It says, my wife and I are in our 50s and healthy. Although she suffers from anxiety, our sex life used to be enjoyable, but since the birth of our daughter, who is now a teenager, is gradually diminished. And just imagine how much stress is on that man. His libido levels are probably out of the roof, man. And in order to not destroy that, he has to deal with women. Okay, because if he take that libido and that dopamine he has built up and gated towards porn, then he's going to totally destroy his attractions for women, and it's going to be hard to get that back. So she's putting a stipend on this man, not even knowing. She's putting a limit on him. And probably don't give a shit, because in her mind said, well, we're married to death do us apart. You can't step on me. You can't be unfaithful. You cannot not be unfaithful to your wife. Like, you're not betraying your wife when you deal with another woman. You're not betraying her, because technically your wife belongs to you. You don't belong to her. You belong to Yahweh Shai. She belongs to you. Like your shoes. Your shoes that's your property. That's your possession. Your shoes will never buck up against you because you're not wearing them enough. And that's how the woman's supposed to be. She's supposed to understand the diverse nature of men and appease it, man. But instead, oh, nah, nigga, you cheating on me, so I'm going to do it to you back. And several relationships have failed because of this destructive mindset that monogamy has had on our people. And the women eat it up because they tied into feminism, women's empowerment. And they really feel some type of way off a sense of misguided feelings or misplaced feelings. Yeah, you may be genuinely hurt, but those feelings were put upon you through societal means, man. Okay, they were programmed into you. Though they ain't right, you adhere them as them being right, because at the end of the day, it's about how it makes you feel. But I always say, just because you feel a certain way doesn't make your feelings right, no matter how painful it be. And it says, for the last 3 years, it has been non-existent. It says, I still have a sexual appetite, but my wife tells me she's lost interest in sex. And this is why you need to have more than one woman. Because if she's going through whatever menopause or whatever depression, or she just want to be a damn bitch and not give you the skins, man, it's time to say, you know what, man, fuck that. Because the scriptures say, hey, let the men and women show due benevolence. So you have power over her body, man. She can't negate you sex. And the same thing, if she wants it, you can't negate her of sex either. If your wife wants it and she's hot, yeah, you may have the moments that y'all don't feel like doing it. But overall, you still got to remain some type of, you got to have a healthy appetite towards your wife when it comes to having sex. Because if not, she's going to go off and find it somewhere else. And the scriptures goes into that. It tells you about those women basically that gave up their first faith, roughly paraphrasing, and began to walk one time against the Hamashiach. And it says, and let them marry. Because if she's not getting what she needs in her body, she's going to despise it, and she's going to end up finding it from another man. So this is why we got to get out of this kingdom. Because, everything hinders your sex drive. Being on a cell phone, eating the foods, breathing the air, drinking the water, the clothes we put on, it's all due to throw off our vitality as men and women. This is why men are basically Not even fertile. They're infertile now because they can't have babies due to all the chemicals and the poisoning. It says she has said several times that she would seek help from a therapist, but never does this, or never does and doesn't seem motivated to do so. She seems very uncomfortable even talking about sex. See, she couldn't, I had to get rid of her, man. Straight up, because it's like, what's the point of me being married? That's what marriage means, to have sex. But it says, even talking about sex to the extent that I have become very wary of bringing it up. Yeah, and that's because you males, man, you males have basically become women to the point you gotta withhold yourself and not talking about what you need because you need to be pleasured. You gotta negate how you feel because she don't want to do it. Well, nigga, go get you another woman, man. Why should you be deprived of what you need in your body because she don't want to do it? Fuck her, man. Get another woman. Yo, she should at least say, she can at least have the decent nature to say, well, you know what? I understand, baby. I ain't really with it. Go find another wife. I'm cool with that. And even if she ain't cool with it, so fucking what? That's your right. It says our sexless marriage seems to suit her fine. We are great friends, man. Fuck that. And we enjoy each other's company. However, I feel frustrated at the lack of discussion about what happened to our sex life and feel resentful that something that used to be a core part of our relationship had just disappeared. Now ask yourself this, is she committing adultery? Because if a sex drive just up and disappear without any health issues or any type of mind trauma that may have caused that, then she could be committing adultery on you, bro. But it says, should I just accept that we would no longer have sex, or should I persevere with trying to get her to seek treatment? The question is no and no. The question is, go and find you another woman. Okay, this is the reason why the Lord allows us to have more than one wife. It says, persevere. The exact reason for your wife's libido is unknown. See, this is the typical response. It says, and there are certain factors that should be understood for both your sakes. Anxiety can certainly be a contributing element, as can depression, stress, hormonal imbalances, body image issues, relationship factors, and certain medications and medical problems. One red flag is your use of the words great friends, who you see yourself to be in contact with your partner is important, but I'm sure that it's very painful for you to be a friend rather than a lover. It says, seek help, try not to allocate blame, for rather be a partner and engaging in her about an effort to improve the quality of life for both of you. Look, if she's not budging, then do what you gotta do, man. Okay, and I get it. Sometimes you do go through things that, your body won't require. Like when I went through my stomach shit, I really wasn't, me and my partner at the time, we still had a decent amount of sex and stuff like that, but it was not nearly compared to what we used to. I'm talking about and I ain't trying to put my business out there, but sometimes we get it in 3-4 times a day. You know what I'm saying? Niggas, Jake ain't going to sleep, but when I hit that crash earlier this year, it's just like, man, I wasn't in the mood. I wasn't attracted to anybody sexual. I was just trying to get better. You know what I'm saying? And I slowly build myself back up into that. And then, everything goes back to normal. But situations like that, that's understandable. Versus a motherfucker that don't want to get on their back on their knees. That's fucked up, man. Okay, so it says monogamy is a didactic relationship in which two members of a group form an exclusive intimate partnership, and that is not natural for a man. Women are meant to be monogamous, but men are not. Because when you go into mono means one. Gamy means partner. Okay, so monogamy, which is monos gamos, which is the Greek way of saying it, which means one partner. That was never so in the scriptures. That came about during the time of the Greeks and the Romans, because it was basically to do away with Jake multiplying, because the scriptures say we should be as the sand of the sea. So being with one woman will also hinder that growth factor for the nation of Israel, because they know that we pump out kids like sardines. We pop them out like grapes. It's nothing for a Latin woman to get pregnant with 5-6 kids in one marriage. That's easy. You know what I'm saying? It says having only one partner at a time, and that's confusion as well, because for the simple fact, once that goes dead and dry, because it will go dead and dry. Okay, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You can be with a person 50, 60 years. You've had urges towards other people. Eventually you get frustrated. You're looking at this person every day. It's the same shit like that Al Bundy spirit. Eventually it's going to go left, and she's just going to go and deal with another man. Period. And that's the confusion of it all. And this is why you have these bedhead wench Keishas out here running around like they ain't got no goddamn sense. But it says whether that be for life or whether it be a serial monogamy, contrasts with various form of non-monogamy, polygamy or polyamory, which polyamory is wickedness too. It says a more general term is used to describe a behavioral ecology and sexual selection of animal mating systems, referring to the state of only having one mate at a given time. In a human cultural context, monogamy typically refers to the customs of two individuals, regardless of orientation, committing to a sexually exclusive relationship. And men are not meant to be sexually exclusive with one woman. Okay, well now you will have your favorites, of course. You will have your head chick. But even then, it's just like, come on, man. It's just not natural. Okay, it says the practice or state of being married to one person at the time. You know, it says Judaism, which we don't practice that. That's basically from the Talmud. It's sorcery. It says how journey from polygamy to strict monogamy. The practice or state of having a sexual relationship with one only partner. You know, younger men were more likely to stray, saying monogamy was outdated. Why do men stray? Because it is in our DNA to want more than one wife. I had a big issue with that the last 2, maybe 3 years of my situation with my wife at the time. And the crazy part about she knew this shit. She knew that the Israelite man was able to have more than one woman. She knew that, and until a point in time, she accepted it and agreed it. But upon indoctrination of the world, fucking Wendy Williams, Oprah Winfrey, women in our head, goddamn TV shows, reality shows, and just having a jealous spirit of being a woman that's tainted by Babylon, that have greatly affected our relationship to the point that if I went out in public, she wanted me to keep my fucking head down. I'm like, bitch, are you crazy? I'm a fucking man. You put your head down. All right, I need to watch you, not the other way around. To the point, it just started weighing on the spirit. And I'm just like, all right, this shit ain't gonna work. Like, to the point. And I told her, I was like, look, straight from, I'm like, look, yeah, I'll be attracted to other women, but I'm like, I ain't gonna deal with no other woman. I'm like, I can deal with, like, I mean, I've been dealing with this chick for years, so it's not hard to just deal with this chick, especially when you're accustomed to this shit by growing up in it. Now, I told her, I said, if I want to bring another wife home, I can do that if I choose to. But I'm like, for the sake of our situation, I'm like, it ain't got to go down like that. But that was not good enough because for the simple fact, she couldn't enslave my mind. And that's one thing about these women, man. Even though, you know, you put down certain boundaries and shit, the fact that you're not a slave to Esau's dogma anymore, they hate that. They hate the fact that you're not a good old boy. And she didn't like the fact that I was finding worth in who I was. So it pretty much killed our situation over time, you know. But hey, she the one that got to repent, not me, because I didn't offend. I didn't do anything to offend the Most High in that regard. She's the one that's offensive, so she has to repent, or she's just gonna get destroyed like the rest of these women. But anyway, monogamy, Greek monos, Greek gami means marriage, single marriage. Okay, and that's clearly not natural, as we're gonna read in the scriptures. All right, so this is the book of Exodus 21, and I'm gonna start at verses. Where is this at? Where is this at? It says, "A raiment of diminished, she shall not marry." Yep, Exodus 21:10, and it says, "If he take him another wife, her food and raiment and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he do not these 3 things unto her, then she should go out free without money." Okay, so that's the point. A man could take on another wife. Okay, Rehoboam, which was of the southern kingdom, which was a wicked son of Solomon, that pretty much oppressed the nation of Israel through taxes and all types of wickedness. He had 18 wives, man. Okay, and we're going to get that account. But monogamy is very, very essential in the scriptures, man. Okay, matter of fact, benevolence. Let me see if I can find this. Yep. 1 Corinthians 7, and I'm going to start at verses 1. It says, "Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, which is adultery, let every man have his own wife, and let every man have her own husband." Now, Paul never said that we couldn't have multiple wives, but this was just for in order for the church. But you had men that had multiple wives, okay? But even then, the Corinth, you know, the laws of the Romans, a lot of Jake prescribed to Roman law at that time, which is the same shit we're doing today. And it says, let the man render to the wife due benevolence, and likewise unto the wife to her husband. For the wife have not power over her own body, but the husband. So therefore he should not be deprived of sex because she don't want to do it or whatever issue, You know what I'm saying? If she was really having some type of psychological issue in the bedroom and she cared enough, she would get help. But clearly she doesn't care enough. So basically it's a selfish affair. Monogamy is very selfish, man. You know, because hey, one woman can't just please a man. Men, we're multi-dimensional. We have different assets and where we want, where you want to be pleased. Yeah, the box can be good. She can be beautiful as day, but if you fucking that same thing for 5 years straight and that's all you seeing, eventually you got to give it a break. You know what I'm saying? And they don't understand it. They think we just out being whole. No, it ain't got nothing to do with that. The Most High is very diverse. He has his favorites. He has his diversities. The scriptures say that we as a speckled bird unto the Most High. That's a bird of many colors. Okay, the 12 tribes ain't just one particular people. Okay, you got blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're all similar, but we're different in our own fashion. Like the tribe of Levi is totally different from the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Gad is totally different from the tribe of Manasseh. But nonetheless, we're the Israelites, but we represent the Lord's women. Those are diverse women. Okay, so the Lord ain't just dealing with one type of woman. Oh, I'm dealing with a nappy head, woolly head chick. Nah, he got the Marliko, he got the Mardi, he got all the different tribes. They're diverse. So why do we have to be subjugated to the witchcraft of Esau? And you women, you have to understand it. You have to understand there's going to come a time that you will share your man. I mean, think about it. We're sharing you with other specimens because most women in the world today that you brothers deal with, you ain't the first man they dealt with. But yeah, you have to, but you have to deal with that though. Okay, you have to negate the fact that she slept with other men before you. You have to accept that. But when it comes to her sharing you, nah, it's a problem. Nah, nigga, you belong to me. No, the fuck I don't. Now, is that to say you don't love your wife? No, that's not saying that. You know what I'm saying? You love her with all your heart. But regardless of it, we're just wired differently. It says the wife have not power over her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power over his own body, but the wife, man. Okay? So that's the point. So, hey, she may need that ride. Hey, you in the spirit to give it to her, then you gotta pipe her down. Period. Because you don't want her to commit adultery. That's why it says here, but I speak this by permission and not of commandment, but for I would that all men, even as myself, but every man have his proper gift in the Most High, one after this manner and one after that. And I say, therefore, to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them that abide as I, but if they cannot contain, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn, okay? And that's the point. You see what I'm saying? He's burning right now, so what does he need to do? He need to go find another woman, marry her, have sex with her. Because you're going to go crazy, man, or you're going to be sitting there looking at Pornhub all day, and before you know it, you ain't going to have nothing to give. You know, so that's why this kingdom got to go, bro. It's totally poisoned the minds of the people. It's noble of him to stay with her according to the consensus of the world, but he's looking like, man, I'm a man. Like, fuck that. Go get your side chick or something, man. I mean, the side chick always seems to be more down than the main chick. And that's just the reality of it. You know, Second Chronicles 11 and 18. It says, and Rehoboam took him from Mahalath, the daughter of Jermoth, the son of David, to wife, and Abihail, the daughter of Eliab, the son of Jesse, which bare him children, Jeush, and Shemariah, and Zaham. And after, it says, and after he took her to Maakath, the daughter of Absalom, which bare him Abijah, and Attah, and Zizah, and Shelemith. And Rehoboam loved Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, above all his wives and his concubines. So that was his favorite. Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, above all his wives and the concubines. So he had a favorite. It says, and he took 18 wives and 80 concubines. Okay, so I think a score is 10. A score is, wait a minute, I think a score in the Bible is 10 is 70. Okay, so 20, 40, 60. Yeah, a score is 20. So it says, and 80 concubines. So this nigga, damn. And he begot 20 and 8 sons, 80 daughters. Yeah, a lot of kids, man. But let's look up real quick, make sure. 60. Damn. 20, 40, 60. So he had, and it makes sense because Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. So I mean, the apple don't fall far from the tree clearly, but still, you know, that's a lot of goddamn women. But he was a king, you know. It says, and he took 18 wives and 80 concubines. And he wasn't in sin because of this, okay? The Lord wasn't angry with him because he had this many women. Okay, the Most High was pissed off at him because he was wicked. Had nothing to do with the damn women. All right. And it says, and 80 concubines, and they begot 28 sons and 80 daughters. And Rehoboam made, and a lot of them wicked daughters are here today. A lot of these nigga women, they probably the daughters of him, man. Okay, and it says, and Rehoboam and Abijah the son of Maacah, the chief, to be ruler among the brethren, for he thought to make him king. And he dealt wisely and dispersed all of his children throughout all the countries of Judah and Benjamin, and unto every fenced city. And he gave them victual in abundance, and he desired many wives. Okay, now that didn't make him wicked because he desired many wives. That's just in our nature. But that's the point, man. Okay. Let's go here. Matter of fact, let me look this up real quick. Because see, Jake, man, they get too goddamn emotional, man. Okay. Look, Genesis 4:19. But Lamech took to him 2 wives. The name of one was Adah, and the name of the other was Zillah. And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding and a young man to my hurt. Okay, but that's the point. They had men of the Lord, or men in general, had more than one wife, man. Even Esau had wives. Okay, so you can't shun a man for having many wives. That's the way that the Lord set it up from the beginning. Okay, Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women should take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach, man. Okay, and how do you be called by the name of your men? By him being your husband, by having sex. And a lot of you women that's with us, a lot of you gonna get left behind because this one scripture is a stumbling block to you. You think you're gonna hinder that scripture in the coming times? You're sadly mistaken. To some of you, you're gonna get it right at the last minute, and you're gonna know this is what you need to get salvation, because you're gonna look at the compare and contrast. Okay, do I be with my husband that got 8 other wives that's with him for protection and getting on a chariot? Or do I be fed to the wolves out in Jacob's trouble by marauders, to be raped and sold into sex slavery and to be beaten and tortured every day until I die? You got a choice to make. To me, option A sounds better than option B, but unfortunately for a lot of you, option B is going to be your reality because of your pride. And a lot of you are going to be forced in that reality because you didn't want to get right with the program. But anyway, I'm going to end it here, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom and the Baba Shalom.